So I wanted to share a little bit more about this word that's been growing inside me since the beginning of this year. And Father really began to speak to me. I was in a time, I suppose, of grieving and intercession, which for me just looks like feeling his heart. And I was feeling the sadness of the spiritual disconnect in the body, especially in the nation of Finland. And I was kind of grieving about a few different areas that we were feeling. And as I began to just feel and intercede for the spiritual things to be broken down and broken off the nation and the people and the body and the bride, I began to hear Father say the answer is all in identity. And as I listened and explored that more with him, it really excited me that the answer to all the fragmentation, all the pains, all the disunity and disconnect that we can experience throughout our lives is always to come back to the place of truth and identity. And Father was just saying that our call is to release a people, and not just personal call, but our call as his children, as his bride, as his body, is to release a people who know who they are and be a people who know who they are. And there's so much power in that. In fact, that is where our power is, that when we know who we are and walk in the confidence and the authority of who we are, then we can change cultures, we can influence nations, cities, we can influence the atmospheres that God's placed us. And I want to encourage you that this is really on his heart for this year, to go after and to seek out the truth of our identity. And I want you to know that when you are discovering who you are finding all the time more of him, because our identity is entwined and rooted and at core essentially in him, and he has graciously infused all we are. Our very selves, our glorious true selves, are infused with his identity, with who he is. And as we come into more of who we are, we find that that being infused with him infuses us and infuses every outworking of that life with him. And I'm really excited that we get to be a part of releasing a people who know how to live that way. And I feel that one of the strands of this journey this year is about taking steps, springing forward into prophetic acts and declarations of our identity. And not just our identity, but allowing that which we hear him say we are, infuse our actions. So if he's calling out in us creativity, that we begin to take creative steps of seeing his very likeness expressed on the earth. And if he's calling out of us that we are bold, that it's time to take bolder steps. If he's calling out of us royalty, it's time to take a lifting up our heads into royalty. And I believe this year that his call over us as his children, as his beautiful bride, his body, is that we would come so much more into our identity, and that we would be bold in that we would have courage and confidence to really release who we are through how we live. And I believe that this year is a real year of the body and the bride coming together in unity, because when we know who we are, we can be confident and secure. We no longer live by a spirit of fear or timidity, anxiety. We no longer live by the fear of rejection or isolation, or all these things that spiritually tempt us away from being that glorious bride that we are and glorious sons that we are. And we begin to live in the spirit of the kingdom, the spirit that is of boldness and truth and sound mind and love and creativity and all the wonderful things that we have as the riches of our inheritance as glorious sons of God. So I just bless you this year. I bless you to seek after his heart, to find out who you are, to dare to take that adventure with him, because the body, the bride, We need you to be you, and we need you to know who you are, so you can stand in every place, every storm, every glorious moment with the fullness of your inheritance, the fullness of who you are, but also being able to express who He is. Because this is what our lands need, this is what our nations need. So I bless you, and I ask that Spirit of revelation, His glorious Spirit, to pour out upon you and fill you and flood your thinking and your times of revelation and times of intimacy with truth and life, and that will propel you closer to Him. Bless you.